Your support helps us preserve Maine's history and share it with future generations.
When I was young, I became a sailing addict. I stole my father's little skiff one time up in Dredge Harbor, the northern part of Delaware River. He had built this little skiff and he was quite proud of it. And I borrowed one of my mother's bed sheets and I took a broom handle out of the closet and I rigged this thing in my father's little skiff. And I sailed across Dredge Harbor to the other side. I got to the other side and I landed on the beach over there. And I realized I had to row all the way back. I thought, gee, this sailing business, they must be out of their minds. I've got to find a different way to do this. But I became more and more of a sailor, and I realized eventually how I could sail back again, and that opened up a whole new avenue of experimentation for me. After my father had passed away and trying to support my mother, I decided I was going to get into the sailing game. I had a 44-foot yawl that two of my friends and I had bought together down in the Chesapeake, and I decided I'd take it to the Bahamas and get in the charter business. So I was down there for 3 years trying to make a living in the charter business and working on other boats in order to do so, just try and earn enough money to keep alive. And a man came walking down the dock while I was working on somebody else's boat doing some varnishing, and he got to talking to me, and we discussed the fact that he had a couple of schooners in Maine. Of course, that perked me right up. Well, tell me about these schooners. Well, these were two old commercial schooners that were part of the old Swift fleet back in those days. They're the only two surviving out of the 18 vessels that Captain Frank Swift, had back in those days. Well, it was the Maddie and the Mercantile back in those days. The Maddie now has a new name, the Grace Bailey, because she's been all rebuilt. But in those days, it was the Maddie and the Mercantile, two old schooners. Well, he's looking around for captains for these boats because his captains were getting old. So I said, boy, this seems like right in my line. We laid my vessel up for the summer and I came to Maine. Windjammer is a term for these great big schooners. It's a term that has been adulterated down through the ages. It was a derogatory term. When the great big square riggers would come back from Australia and China and they would be coming up the English Channel, and the steamers always had to give way to the sailing vessels. Sailing vessels had the right of way under international law. Well, the steamers are trying to maintain a schedule back and forth, and here comes this great big windjammer, full sail, making knots. They'd make 15, 18 knots coming up the English Channel, and they would have to stop the steamer and let the sailing vessel go by, and the captain of the steamer would say, oh God, here comes another one of these damned old windjammers. So that's where the term came from. Down through the ages, big vessels, eventually small vessels, anything under sail was called a windjammer. We like to think of the windjammers as being the old coasters, the old sailing vessels without engines that are here in this unique business here on the coast of Maine. And it is a very unique business. Nowhere else in the world can you go and find vessels without engines doing things just like Granddaddy did back in the late 19th century. Now, back in the old days, there weren't any roads, of course. The roads were all cow paths. There was no way to move cargo except by water. It was very easy to move by water. You could take a vessel, load her up with all kinds of cargo, and whether she got in next week or the week after didn't really matter. So there wasn't any kind of a schedule that you had to maintain with any great variance. Instead, a sailing vessel would be a lot of fun to take out on the water and make knots and move your cargo quite swiftly from one port to another.
The golden age of sail with the deep sea vessels was 1840s to about 1900. And then the schooner age was on either end, the coasting schooners.
And they were ubiquitous. There were sailing vessels everywhere. You can't imagine how many sailing vessels there were back in those days. The late 1800s, 1891, 1892, 1893, Rockland was the fourth largest seaport in the United States. That's Philadelphia, New York, Boston, and Rockland, Maine. Why? Because there was no other transportation worthwhile. You couldn't get to Maine any other way. And this whole New England coast was populated. And US 1 ran from lighthouse to lighthouse all the way up and down east to Eastport, up to Boston. They say down east because that was the prevailing wind back in those days, sou'westers. The vessels all ran before the wind to come along the coast of Maine, which is mostly east and west. That's why they called it down east.
In the heyday, in the 19th century, you'd see all sorts of small schooners in the ports of Bath and Wiscasset in Portland. We have a lot of images that just show these ports teeming with these everyday schooners moving goods around. They really were the predominant vessel that you would see in these ports.
When you see an 18-wheeler on the turnpike today, that was a four-masted schooner doing the same thing, carrying cargo up and down here. You see a UPS truck. UPS trucks are everywhere. Well, that was a little two-masted schooner going in and out of these little seaports all along the villages, all along the coast of New England. They were delivering cargo.
Maine extracted resources to send elsewhere. So granite, lime, lumber, all the building blocks of American cities. And then fish, of course, we're still known for our fish. And then natural ice. We could cut ice and send it around the world.
Vessels all the way up to 300 and 400 feet long, 2, 3, 4, 5-masted schooners. It took a whole forest of wood for those boats. They had to have good solid white oak for their keel. They would have to have good solid white oak planking. They would have to be very sturdily built, and huge frames, enormous framing in these vessels. Of course, the carrying cargo, very heavy cargo, they had to be quite strong to withstand the kind of weather they had to go through, summer and winter, and so on. Even the spars, the masts, were made of western fir, sometimes pine and spruce, but mostly western fir, much better for a mast. And they had to come from the west coast. The white oak, we didn't have any white oak in Maine. That white oak had to come from Virginia and Massachusetts and other places. It was shipped into Rockland by the millions of board feet to build these vessels, lay their keel, build up planking. They had gangs that would go from shipyard to shipyard. Every inch of Rockland Harbor was taken up by either a shipyard, a lime kiln, a granite works, a fish plant. Back in the heyday, the late 1800s, it was a powerhouse of economic activity. 1920, in Rockland, they stopped building sailing vessels because they got railroads and they got trucks and they got roads.
It can be easier to put things on a truck and go as opposed to load them on a boat. And so when you're competing with the land-based forms of transportation, in those conditions, schooners died. Captain Swift was originally a boys' camp counselor over in Sandy Point, which is just a little bit around the bend here on the bay. And he would take the boys out on week-long sailing voyages on these old coasting schooners. And then the Depression hit, and he's trying to figure out how to support his family. And he says, well, it worked for the summer camp boys. I wonder if there would be passengers.
When Frank Swift started this business in 1936, he was looking for a romantic name for his business, and he called it Windjammer Cruises. And the name caught on.
And it's been going ever since.
I'm Roderick Swift. I usually go by Rod, and I am one of the sons of Captain Frank Swift. I think that if it hadn't been for this business going through the late part of the Depression and World War II, it would have failed. By 1950, other people were coming into the business, and the crux was over. But it was during the Depression and the war years that the vessels had nothing to do. A lot of the people would go aboard in those days. They were always one-week trips. They didn't do shorter ones. And a lot of people went for 2 weeks. There was one vessel that only did 2-week trips. And we sailed earlier and farther. We'd leave Camden on Monday morning around 10. My father used to try to get out a little beforehand before what was called the Green Front store opened. And we would sail from Camden to Northeast Harbor on Mount Desert Island on Monday. We went so many more places. The places that I liked best are hardly ever visited anymore.
And it wasn't expensive. You brought your own bedding. They did provide you food, but it was schooner fare. People from Boston, he would advertise in the Boston newspapers and the other city newspapers of here's something different. You've got a vacation time, come up to the coast of Maine. You don't have to rent a house by yourself. You've got a bed and food, come enjoy yourself.
In those days, it was quite Spartan. Nowadays, of course, everybody has water down below in their cabins, and they have heads down below and so on that are all pretty commodious. They'd go to their cabin. The cabin was about the size of your bathroom at home, and they had to share it with 4 other people. That's the way it was early windjamming days. Then they start to brush their teeth. Well, you know, we'd have a lineup of people on the rail there. The guy next to you might be a Wall Street executive, the next guy a truck driver, the guy after that it might be a day laborer, and a teacher and a nurse, and from all walks of life. And here we're all in the same boat, and they're brushing their teeth there, and they're spitting overboard. Well, they're laughing about it and making jokes about it. Pretty soon, they have a contest, who can spit the furthest, you know? That was the way it was. Everybody made their own fun. The passengers, without radios and without telephones, we didn't have any of that kind of thing, of course, they would make their own fun. Well, getting that sail up was no easy task for a small crew, but we had passengers. And of course, that was the way we did it back in those days. We encouraged the passengers to go to work and set those sails. You want to go sailing? I said, come on, grab this line over here, grab that, heave that sail up, just like your granddaddy did in the old days. Heave that sail up, and we'll go for a sail across the bay. Well, they all lined up. They grabbed a hold of this. They're all from New York and Boston and down the cities all along the coast. Pull away together! They grabbed a hold of this line and they started pulling on the line. And gee, this was really kind of fun. It was real easy. The sail started up, you know. Well, when it got halfway up, they had to start digging their heels in and started to really pull. And then we'd sing them a little halyard shanty, you know. Way haul away, we'll haul for better weather. Way haul away. They'd get into the spirit of the rhythm of it. And then they'd be pulling away there. We'd get the sail up 3/4 of the way, and it really started to get hard. Almost mastheaded, and I would say, okay, stop, you guys, all stop. Now, 1, 2, 3, heave. 1, 2, 3, we'd do that 3 or 4 times, and the vessel would be mastheaded then. Make it off on the pin there, and then I'd turn to them and say, okay, guys, now we have 4 more sails to do. So line up on the foresail, and we'd do that one. They'd go up there, and they'd line up on the foresail. The more they did on the vessel, the more attached they'd become to that vessel. And the more spirit they would have, the more loyalty they would have for that vessel. Most of the windjammers were small vessels. They were 100 to 150 feet. They were mostly two-masted vessels. They were easy to handle. They would pick up crew anywhere they could, somebody to help load the cargo, somebody to help move the vessel from one place to another. They were rigged so that with blocks and tackles so that they were easy enough for a small crew to handle. A vessel of 150 feet in size could be easily run by 4 men.
Today on a windjammer, you maybe have 2 deckhands, 1 or 2 deckhands to handle the sails, drop anchor, same thing back then. You have the captain who navigates, who knows where you're going, is trying to get to the port in time. And then you might have a first mate, just because the captain on long voyages can't be awake 24/7. So you have a mate that is taking on that role. And then you need the cook. Some schooners would have a dedicated cook, others it was one of the deckhands maybe. And so back then, 1 or 2 number of deckhands was enough to raise those sails.
The little coasters, the little two-masted vessels, they were individually owned, they were entrepreneurs, and they had very few crew and did everything themselves.
I'd always spent my childhood kind of going around boatyards, kicking keels, looking for the perfect liveaboard with my dad. And he found it in the schooner Mabel, which was the boat that Frank Swift started this company with, Maine Windjammer Cruises. And so they sold our 13-room house, and we all moved aboard as a family. And we lived over at P.G. Willie's Wharf back when it was the low-rent district, and the Grace Bailey and the Mercantile were my neighbors. So I've been around these boats for a long time. It's so hard to put into words because it's walking into another world. None of your familiar touch points are there. If you're open to that, so many other things are out there. You begin to see things, you begin to smell things, you begin to feel things.
The most beautiful thing about Penobscot Bay is the views are constantly changing. You get islands and trees, mountains, beaches and shoals.
Well, it's one of the most pristine areas in the country. It's not like Long Island or Chesapeake Sound or any of these other places where it's chock-a-block full. And a lot of times you're out there and you're the only one out there, or you might see another schooner sailing by.
Have a great sail!
It's more interesting to me to sail along the coast as opposed to be in the open ocean where there's less to pay attention to.
All right, lower away.
If you're here and you're the actual sailor, you have to pay attention to other landforms and islands and harbors and where you might go if the weather changed.
Tonight, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 25 knots.
Or if you're out in the ocean, you don't have those choices. You're attentive to some things that are more engaging.
And 2-6. Heave. 2-6. Heave.
When a passenger comes on board and gets into the spirit of it and helps to raise the sails and listens to the anchor being clanked up with the chain, the more they get into that, the further they get away from the world where they constantly have to be in touch, constantly have to be on, and it allows them to go into themselves as well as out to their fellow passengers.
there is, I'll come over.
So the participatory experience is also interpersonal with the tactile. The feeling of the manila lines, natural fiber lines, the ship heeling over, the sound of the running water, standing back at the helm, maybe taking a turn at the helm to steer the ship. Tacking the boat and hearing all the rigging back and forth. People getting to know each other, perfect strangers, shut up on a boat at sea, and it always works.
Day you wake up, you have coffee on deck, you're a little bleary-eyed, you look around, you get to know a few of your friends, and you become a little more comfortable, and you spend the day, and pretty soon you're having a good time.
I came here by myself, so it's a little different. Most people come with another person, but it's been great. I've loved meeting all the different people. We get to do different things together, like we'll wash all the dishes together. I just helped hoist up the anchor yesterday and tie up some lines today, so it's been great being able to work with other people.
Happy birthday, dear Bill. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
I love sailing. I love the contemplative nature of it, but I also like that some part of your mind has to be attentive, and another part of your mind seems to be relaxed. So you pay attention to the set of the sail, you pay attention to the direction the boat is traveling, you pay attention to the direction of the wind and the waves, and then the rest of your mind is free to wander, to go into repose.
People get used to the vessel and they understand the boat, and then they yearn for more, and that brings them back next year. That's the Windjammer business.
I treasure them. I treasure them for their history. I treasure them for their part in my past. And I treasure them for the future that I hope they'll have for so many years to come.
I want to show them an experience that they can't get anywhere else.
Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Oh, the times was hard and the wages low. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now once more ashore we'll go, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. I thought I heard the old man say, leave her, Johnny, leave her, and tomorrow we shall get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Oh, the wind was foul and the sea ran high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. We swear by rote for want of more. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now we're through, so we'll go on shore, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
Come gather round me, sailors, and listen to my song. Things that happened to me when I come home from Hong Kong. To be way, hey, Sandy, my dear Annie. Oh, you New York girls, can't you dance the polka? One day, well, down in Chatham Town, a fair maid I did meet. She asked me please to see her home. She lived on Bleecker Street. To be way, hey, Santee, my dear Annie. Oh, you New York girls, can't you dance the polka? She said, if you will come with me, well, you can have a treat. You can have a glass of brandy and something nice to eat. To be way, hey, Santee, my dear Annie. Oh, you New York girls, can't you dance the polka?
Your support helps us preserve Maine's history and share it with future generations.